The Wailing. Recently I watched this film and I wanted to make a video explaining my interpretation of the ending. I'd also like to explain some of the unanswered questions the film leaves at the end. It goes without saying that if you have not seen this film, please turn off this video. Before we begin, I'd like to say that my Korean pronunciation is quite terrible, so please excuse any mispronunciation of the names from this film. There are so many things that can be said about this film, and analyzing the protagonist alone could be an entire video. I'd like to focus on the ending and the character of the shaman. Now, the shaman leaves us with so many unanswered questions, so focusing on this will answer most questions people have about the ending of the film. First up is the Japanese man. This man represents evil, or the devil himself, as seen here. The first time that we see the Japanese man in the woods, he is eating the corpse of an animal. Now, I must say, the first time I thought this was all untrue. The details are given to us by a man who recently experienced a head injury, and the next time we see him, he's attacking Jeongju, who wakes up from a dream. The viewer is intentionally misled to possibly suspect to the idea of whether the Japanese man is evil or not, especially with the presence of the woman. Now, the woman in white is pure good, an angel, a spirit, someone to fight against the evil. She warns that the Japanese man is evil, and she makes the shaman very ill, which we'll talk about later. She, without sin, cast the first stone. Now, the shaman. The shaman, this man works for the Japanese man, or he works indirectly for him. He is simply an evil counterpart. Allow me to explain more on the ending of this film by going through some of what is happening with the shaman and the shaman's direct influence on the film. Here is an interesting scene. In this scene, we see the shaman is wearing all white, a holy man. He then goes, and while he's changing, his loincloth is the same as that of the Japanese man that was wearing in the beginning of the film. Now he's wearing all black. He then tells Jeongju that not to interfere with the ritual and not to do anything that would interfere with the ritual. Notice that during the ritual, when he is staking the statue or the symbol, Hoijin is literally being staked. We see the child reacting exactly to where the shaman is staking. Now, the Japanese man's ritual, these are shown side by side in the film, but the Japanese man's ritual doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the shamans. The shaman isn't attacking the Japanese man, he's attacking the small girl. He's attacking Hoijin, and through his staking, through his attacks, he is seemingly destroying her or destroying the demon inside of her. Now, depending on what you believe, I personally believe that his ritual at the end would kill the girl. The Japanese man's ritual is, as I said, completely different. We see at the end of the Japanese man's ritual that he is doing his ritual in front of a photo of the man from the car. And this man inside the car, at the end of his ritual, we see him breathing, and then he later goes on to attack the men in defense of the Japanese man. In essence, the Japanese man's ritual is to create a unwilling follower, a possessed man that will protect him, especially after the loss of his dog. The shaman would have possibly killed Hoijin if his ritual was able to complete. Now, the shaman experiences an illness when he sees the woman in white, and she tells him to leave. Now, this is a good indication that they are complete opposites. And if we find later in the film that the woman in white is in fact good, or she is fighting the Japanese man, the shaman is at direct odds against the woman in white. Another fact that she is the opposite of the shaman being evil and the woman in white being good. When he tries to leave, there are bugs that fly into his windshield, causing him to almost get into an accident, spin out on the street. You will notice that when he looks back, the bugs are gone. Now, the bugs didn't come from the woman in white. She asked him to leave. And in doing so, she wouldn't stop him from leaving by manifesting these bugs in front of his windshield. The bugs came directly from the Japanese man, who wishes the shaman to stay. Now, the shaman tells Jeongju on the phone to get to his house and get to his daughter. If he does this, it will kill him. The shaman says the Japanese man is a shaman like me, further connecting the two of them. Now, the shaman tries to make Jeongju go home until he sees the woman. Now, the woman in white attempts to stall Jeongju in this scene. She tells him the truth. She tells him, if you leave, your whole family will perish. Now, it's my belief that if he leaves at this moment, he will not be able to stop his daughter from killing his family. Upon first viewing, you may believe that she's stopping him from saving his family, but this character is inept. We clearly see this throughout the film. He's constantly late for his job, and every time he goes to fight something possessed or do a simple task, it seems like he fails. She tells him the Japanese man is a real demon. She laid a trap for him. The plant hanging outside the home is the trap. All Jeonju has to do is wait. Jeonju has to have faith in her. He needs to believe in her without seeing her true form. The shaman tells him to leave. He tries to sway him. The woman displays true magic when she moves quickly to stop Jeonju from leaving. Here, Jeonju is tested. Like us viewing the film, who should we truly believe? Jeonju is unreliable, and in the end, we all feel the same way. We do not know who to trust. When he decides not to trust the woman in white, we hear her and see her pain of failure. When Jeonju defies the woman and he goes home, he destroys her trap. We see it fading away. Since he did not have faith, the trap dries up. This is one of the first things we see in the beginning of the film from one of the possessed victims. This leads us to believe that other people in the village have lost faith as well. Maybe these people were tested and failed. The woman wears and keeps the items of her past failures. These are the people she tried to protect. All of these people have lost faith and they have sinned, and she has failed to protect them. The shaman later takes photos of the dead, and on his way out he drops a box of photos that were said to have been burned. The shaman is also not surprised by everyone in the house and their current condition. He gets into his car with the photographs and he's ready for his next set of victims. You can see the shaman is in direct conflict with the woman in white, as the woman in white is in direct conflict with the Japanese man. So either the shaman fits somewhere in the middle, or he is working with one of the two. And since the woman in white makes him incredibly ill and she wants him to leave, we can only assume and put together and be able to realize that the shaman and the Japanese man are one and the same. They're both after the same goal. And we see this. The Japanese man is sick, nearly dying after his ritual, and the woman in white appears. The Japanese man at the end of the film is shown as the devil, as a demon. He is the evil in the village, and the shaman seems to only further his plan. So with that in mind, and rewatching the film, it does seem more and more apparent that the shaman, whether he means to or not, is a direct link to evil, and he is only going to do more damage than good. There's so much more on this film. The father's sins, the daughter's sins, and even the other people in the household. The old woman whom is spoken about, but we don't really see. Here I wanted to answer the questions when it came to the end of the film. Hopefully I did that for you, breaking down the shaman and his character. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a comment below. If enough people like the video or request other videos, I'll create more like this one. Thank you for watching.